Hi everyone, this is Helloangel.design. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute dress with a balloon skirt. So this is how it is once you have done making the skirt. The lining is half circle skirt while the made fabric is full circle skirt. You can see that the top dress you're tying it at the shoulder. This is very cute for this summer and easy to make in a step-by-step tutorial. Please go ahead and support us by subscribing. Turn on your notification bell button and select all options. If my tutorial is helpful, thumbs up. Make a comment down below if you have any question. This dress is for 4 years old child. If you are interested or shopping African wask fabric, visit my website www.helloangel.design. There are beautiful African wask fabric that you can shop. So let's get started. That you have to do, you're going to make your own pattern paper. I have make mine. This is how it is. So I just trace it out. I use one paper for the both front and back, so I just trace it out. This is the both pattern paper, both front and back. You will first make a basic pattern paper. You can see I make a basic pattern paper. This is my shoulder slope. Then what you're going to do, you just go ahead and extend your shoulder. That is the pattern paper, the shoulder of the top that you're making. You just extend the shoulder. Mine is 5 inch. You just go ahead and curve it out. Once you curve it out, this shoulder slope is just a basic line so that you know how to make your own pattern paper. This dress that we are making, we are going to tie it at the shoulder. There is no zipper nor buttonhole, so the child can easily just put it on and tie the dress at the shoulder. So this is how I make my own pattern paper. For the waistline, what you are going to do, add half an inch so that it's easy for the child to put on. It just go through the child from the head all the way down. Because if the waistline is tighter, it will be very difficult for the child to put on. So if you want it to be free at the waistline, you place your measuring tape or your ruler. You measure half an inch. Place your ruler from the armhole. You just connect it from that half an inch all the way down, and then go ahead and curve it out. So this is how I also make mine, like this. You can see this is half an inch on both front and back, and then I go ahead and curve it out. So this is how I make my pattern paper. So what you're going to do when you're cutting your fabric, remember to place your pattern paper on fold. So you place the back pattern paper on fold. You will place the front pattern paper on fold. So once you've done it like that, remember to add seam allowance all around. Add 1 centimeter seam allowance all around your fabric when you're cutting them out, or you can even add half an inch seam allowance. Depends on the seam allowance that works with you. Go ahead and add seam allowance on your fabric, cut it out. Also do the same thing with the lining. Then we cannot cut the skirt. So the next thing that you have to do, you are going to cut your circle skirt. So I have folded my fabric. I folded it into 4 places. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how I fold my fabric. Once you fold your fabric, make sure you place it very nice like this. I will just use a few pins to secure this edge together. I have pinned my fabric together. This is how it is, and this side are all folded, this side are all folded, while this side is the raw edges. The next thing that you have to do, you're going to put the child waist measurement. Remember, when we make our pattern paper, we add half an inch on the child waist measurement. So we are going to also add the same half an inch on the measurement. So mine is 22 inch for the waist measurement, and I'm going to add that half an inch. That will be 22.5. 22.5 divided by 6.28, then you have 3.5 inches. So what you're going to do, you can see my pointed edge right here. you place your measuring tape from the very tip of your fabric. You're going to measure all around 3.5 inches. That will be the waistline of your skirt. So go ahead and measure it around. Once you had measured around like this is 3.5 inch, what you're going to do, just go ahead and connect the mark together. So this is our waistline of our skirt. The next thing that you have to do, you're going to measure the length. The length of my skirt is 15 inches. If you are making a dress, you have to remember that the top has a length, if it's 9 inch, so you minus that 9 inch away from the full length of your dress. So let's say my dress is 24 inches, then I minus 9 inch away from the full length, then will be I have 15 inch left. So I'm going to place my measuring tape like this from this very mark right here. I'm going to measure down 15 inch all around. Once I am done with that, I will go ahead and cut it out. I have connected my mark together. So what I'm going to do, before you cut it out, remember to add your 1 centimeter seam allowance from the waistline. So what you're going to do, you place your measuring tape from this very mark right here. You measure inside 1 centimeter seam allowance all around. Depends on the seam allowance that you add on your fabric. Just go ahead and mark all around 1 centimeter seam allowance and then go ahead and cut it out. The next thing that we have to do, we are going to cut our lining. I just use a pin to secure my lining. I fold my lining just into 2. So what you're going to do, you're going to fold it all over again like this. A triangle way or a diagonal way like this. You can also go ahead and secure that with a pin. So I will go ahead and secure mine with a pin. I have secured mine with a pin. The next thing that you have to do, you're going to put the child waist measurement. So the child waist measurement is 22.5 inches. So what you're going to do, you're going to divide that by 3.142. So 22.5 inches divided by 3.142, the waistline will be 7 inches. So you place your measuring tape from the very tip of your fabric. You're going to measure it all around 7 inches. You can use your marker or your pen. So I will place my measuring tape like this. I'm going to measure it all around 7 inches. Once you have measured it around, go ahead and connect the mark together. Once you have done that, from this mark right here, you're going to take your measurement. So my measurement is 15 inch. You just go ahead and measure it all around 15 inch and also cut it out. I have cut out my fabric. This is how it is. This is my made top and my lining, my circle skirt and my lining. For this lining circle skirt, I almost forgot. I'm going to cut out from the bottom edge because it's a balloon skirt, so we want the lining to be shorter than the made fabric. So what I'm going to do, I will just go ahead and measure 1 inch all around and then cut it out. So I almost forgot that. Make sure you should do the same. You can just fold your fabric all over like this, the way I'm folding it now. Measure around 1 inch. Go ahead and cut that out. The next thing that you have to do, you open your made fabric. This is the front of my fabric and this is the lining. Make sure that both front fabric are facing each other. Go ahead, pin around the both armhole neckline and the shoulder seam. Once you have done that, take it to your sewing machine, stitch around the both armhole neckline and the shoulder seam. And then you take the back top. So this is the back top. This is the front of my back top. Put the both front fabric together. Pin around the both armhole neckline and the shoulder seam. Once you have done that, take it to your sewing machine, stitch the both armhole, neckline and the shoulder seam. Once you have done stitching, remember to snip around the armhole curve, neckline and the shoulder seam. Take it to an ironing board and give it a good press. So go ahead and stitch your top dress together. I have stitched it together. I turn it inside out and I give it a good press. This is how it is. The next thing that you have to do, you're going to put the both top together like this, both front fabric and facing each other. My main fabric and facing each other, and the liner will be facing each other. We are going to stitch the side seam of the top together. Just go ahead, pinning all the way down. I have pinned both sides seam together. The next thing that you have to do, take it to your sewing machine, stitch the both sides seam with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Once you have done that, turn it inside out, give it a good press. You take your skirt lining, you're just going to go ahead. You can see that this is open, so we are going to top stitch, because like I said before, this dress that we are making, there is no zipper nor buttonholes, so we are just going to go ahead and give it a top stitch all the way down. Once you have done that, you can either zigzag it with your zigzag sewing machine or take it to your overlocker, overlock the raw edges. So go ahead and top stitch. I have stitched my top dress together. This is how it looks right now, and this is the back of the top. This is how it is. And I have also stitched my skirt together. You can see that I just go ahead and give it a top stitch, and I use my zigzag stitches to overlock the raw edges. The next thing that you have to do, you're going to take your main skirt to your sewing machine. You're going to go ahead and stitch the bottom edge. When you're stitching, set your sewing machine to the longest stitch, because we are going to gather the bottom edge the same width of the lining bottom edge. So you can see that the lining bottom edge is shorter than the main fabric. So go ahead and stitch that together. Once you have done that, we cannot gather the bottom edge to fit exactly the bottom edge of our lining. I have stitched my gather stitch thread at the bottom edge of my main fabric, and this is my lining. The next thing that you have to do, put your bottom edge together the same way when you fold your skirt together. When you were cutting it, you just fold it together like this. You can see how it is. You just go ahead and pull it gradually. You just go ahead and give it a little cut at the 4 corners of the fabric. Once you have done that, you also do the same thing with the lining. Put them together, give it a little cut at the 4 corners of the fabric. So you're putting them together like this. You just give it a cut here and you give it a cut there. Once you have done that, the next thing that you have to do, you are going to open your skirt. This is the front of my skirt. And you take your lining. This is the front of my lining, so I'm going to put them together like this. So I will take the first corner and I will secure this with a pin like this. This is where I cut right here on my fabric. So I will secure that with a pin like that. So I will just go ahead and do the same thing with the second side. This is the second side that I give it a cut, and this is my lining, and I will secure that with a pin. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing all around the 4 corners of the skirt. So go ahead and secure that with a pin. Once you have secured all the 4 corners together, you can see that my made fabric is bigger than the lining. So this is the lining and this is my made fabric. So what you're going to do, you're going to gather your made fabric, make sure it fits your lining, and then you just go ahead and gather it all around like that. So you gather this other side, make sure it fits the lining. If you can't gather it all around and you see that there is too much work for you to do, all you have to do, pleat your made fabric on your lining. This will be the easiest way for you, because if you're going to gather it, that will take much time. You just go ahead and pleat it all around. Make sure to secure that with a pin. So once you secure with a pin, like this is how it will look. You can hardly notice that because once we pull the lining out, this pleat will go inside the lining, so it will be bubble. So you can also go ahead and repeat the same process on this other side. So I think I will just split mine instead of gathering it, because splitting will be more easier and quicker for me also. So I will just go ahead and pleat it all around. I can easily remove my gather stitch thread. So this is how it is. Go ahead and pleat your skirt on your lining, or go ahead and gather your skirt on your lining. Once you have done that, go ahead and give it a top stitch all around. So once you have done that, I will show you how mine finally look. I have turned my skirt inside out. This is how it, once you turn your skirt inside out, this is how the bottom edge of your skirt will look. The next thing that you have to do, you take your top. So I'm going to turn my skirt inside out again. So this is the back of my skirt and this is the front of my top dress. So I will just put it inside like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the both side seam and the side seam of the skirt together. You just put them together, both the lining and the made fabric together. You just go ahead and secure that with a pin. And then this is the other side seam of my top. And I place a pin right here to know the other side seam of my skirt. I will just also go ahead and secure that with a pin. So once you have done that, you're going to pin it all around, both the lining and the made fabric together. You just go ahead and pin it on the top dress. The next thing that you have to do, take it to your sewing machine, stitch it all around with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Once you have done that, you can either zigzag it with your zigzag sewing machine or take it to your overlocker, overlock the raw edges. And one other thing I have to mention right here, if you make your skirt and you notice that when you're pinning your made top, that your top is more wider than your skirt, what you're going to do, you take your scissors, just go ahead and give it a little cut at the waistline of your skirt. So when you pull your skirt, there is more stretchiness at the waistline. Then you can pin your top on the waistline and then go ahead and top stitch. This is the final look of my dress. This is how it is. I have stitched my skirt together. This is how it looks. So what I'm going to do, I will just push the seam towards the bodice and then I will top stitch around the waistline. So this is the final look of my balloon dress. It's easy to make. It's a step-by-step tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Make a comment down below if you have any questions. If my tutorial is helpful, thumbs up. If you're just stopping by, thank you so much for watching. Before you exit that video, don't forget to subscribe and You all should have a beautiful day. Bye.